Okay, welcome to anybody who is viewing online. We have only six voting members here presently. We expect a seventh to arrive shortly.
Propose we go into recess until the seventh member comes.
Before we do that, if you don't mind, I would like to say thank you to everybody that's out there, all of our voters that is giving any kind of opinions, concerns, comments, questions. Thank you, everybody. Keep participating. Bring it on. We want to hear it.
That's correct. While we're waiting for David Lorenzo to arrive, we could commence with a prayer.
Can we even start the agenda without a quorum?
I don't see any reason we could not commence with a prayer at this point in time.
I'm comfortable with that. Yes. Chris.
Yep.
You lead the prayer, buddy.
No.
You lead the prayer.
I think Jonathan would be pleased to do that.
Dear Lord, thank you for today. Thank you for everything you do for us. Thank you for the blessings that you pour down on us, especially the ones we don't even think about. Lord, we ask for your wisdom and your guidance through this process, and we want to do things right for your glory. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
And
a special prayer for
David.
Yeah, David.
Oh,
David.
How are you? We now have a quorum, and we have gone through an invocation. I will lead us through the U.S. pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay. So, the next thing on the agenda is public comment. Is there anybody here who would like to make any public comment?
Not today, but thank you for the opportunity.
Gentlemen, with time change coming up, we need to move our meetings up to 6 o'clock. Otherwise, everybody's gonna feel like it's 10 o'clock. That we adjourn our meetings.
That is an interesting proposition. However, I don't think that the traffic patterns that caused us to decide on a 7 o'clock start time will change enough to make that a viable option.
John,
That means people can't get here at 6 o'clock.
David, you be here at 6?
I'm good. I couldn't make it. I like keeping it at 7. That's where we've been. We should be fine with that. That's where people who come are used to it.
Also clear of any, pop-up city council meetings.
Well, they can move their crap around ours. That's the way I
Do
see
you
it.
think they will?
Yes, sir, they will. Yes.
Okay, I would say let's consider this, and as we adopt action items for the next meeting and revisit this subject. Okay? So, there are no public comments, so the next item would be to approve meeting minutes from October 8th. Did anybody have any comment or corrections to the minutes as distributed a few days ago?
Move to accept.
Second, third, fourth.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. I will update that, make it read a final version and send it in to get posted. Okay? So, tonight, reviewing our schedule, all we have to do is reach consensus on Articles 4, 6, 7, 8, 10, and possibly the wording of the preamble. If we accomplish all that, at our next scheduled meeting of November 5th, all we would have left to do is integrate all the articles, make sure there's no conflicts and everything is seamless, and ensure internal consistency. Okay? The week after the next meeting, which is November 5th, we will have our second town hall meeting again at Willow Park Baptist Church at 6:30 p.m. Thursday, 13th of November. Okay. I am hopeful that we will have a huge turnout for that event. We had a reasonable turnout at our town hall meeting last week. And we got I don't know, I think I fielded about 30 questions or so. Which I appreciated, and I think they will go into the comments that we're reviewing tonight, I believe. So David, you
Do we
have,
have any, feedback on how many people were on the line?
Over 1,000. I'll look it up. Yeah, just over 1,000 people.
on the, online on the town hall meeting? That's great.
Yes, it is.
And then that's actually views, that's people who, that does not tell us how many people clicked and what our retention was.
That's,
So it's somebody who may have clicked and stayed for 5 seconds and left, so
That's correct.
we can't take that 1,000.
I know. I was gonna say, Rose can get information on,
Gene wants it 13
excuse me,
times, so.
Todd, do you have some input on that?
Yes, sir. I'm looking at analytics right now. You've had 2.2 thousand views on that video.
Outstanding.
Okay, do you have any
And retention?
input on how many were more than 5 minutes?
What was our retention rate?
I would have to go deeper, and I'm not prepared to do that on my phone. I have to do it on my laptop.
Okay.
But I
Thank
can-
you.
I would like to be able to feed that back to the membership here and the public as to how many people actually stayed with the town hall meeting for 5, 10, 15 minutes or the whole thing. That would be great. Okay, good question, David. Any comments on the schedule? The last thing on the schedule as shown is we will be prepared to present the completed proposed home rule charter for Willow Park to the city council on Tuesday, the 9th of November. Oh, excuse me, 9th of December this year. Okay, and that, of course, will lead to the proposal that the council will include it on the ballot for the May election in 2026. Okay,
Are they gonna consider it that night? Or are we just presenting it to them, then they'll come back and put it on the ballot at another time?
they will not, okay, the orders to conduct a City of Willow Park election will not be made until February, I believe. I'd have to look at the state calendar on that.
It's February 13th is the deadline to call an election, I believe. I've looked at it before, and that's either the deadline or that's the last regular meeting. So it's a bit early February, yes.
And the council will have the right to rewrite anything that we come up with, correct?
I'm not sure about that. One input I got was that, no, they don't. But I haven't actually gone and looked at state law on that myself. So I don't know the answer.
I'm just asking because, city attorney who attends the council meetings when we talked about this earlier made comment that the council could look and review what we did.
Well,
Look and review is different than change.
Pardon?
Look and review is different than change. I think they would have to go back and give us.
We'll see what, yeah, 'cause
well, okay. To be clear, the December 9th target gives the council ample time to review and even question or feedback to the commission for clarification or whatever.
okay.
Okay. And so at this point, and as I said in the town hall meeting, that is a question over which I am not currently losing any sleep. Okay. I mean, let's try and get her done first. Okay. So, I also did get some comments back on sections we have reviewed previously. And they are on this material. That got printed I would have changed the formatting on this before printing it like this. But there we go. Couple of these items are in Article 3. We didn't actually specify that on the agenda, but I think they relate to questions that came out of Article 4 that have to do with let me see. Well, no, this has to do with the elected terms of the officials. Okay. And one original proposal was that certain members would be elected in 1 year, the mayor and 2 council members in another year, and the other 2 council members in a third year. After looking at the details a little more closely, I realized that council member places 1 and 2 and the mayor were all elected in 2024, specifically for 2-year terms. 2025. Right, thank you. So their 2-year terms would be up in 2027. And it makes sense then to make the place 1, 2, and the mayor be elected in 2027. 3 of the council members are going to be elected, or the places 4, 5, and 3, 4, and 5 are up for election in 2026. The current incumbents of that were either renewed into or recently appointed into the remainder of those terms. So the 2026 election is, the actual election is before the charter takes effect, so they are running for 2-year terms. So 2 of those people should be reelected in 2028. And then the other 2 would be elected in 2029.
Which are who?
Well, that's a good question. Because assuming the charter passes, at the first meeting, whoever is elected in places 3, 4, and 5 would get sworn in as council members. And then the council would have a vacancy in the newly created place 6. And the council would have the opportunity to appoint somebody to fill that position. Okay. One thought I had was that at that point, places 3, 4, 5, and 6 could be given the opportunity to discuss amongst themselves and come up with an agreement on who was going to take 2-year terms and who was going to take 3-year terms. Or failing the ability of those four persons to come to a rational, mutual decision, make that decision by chance.
Flip a coin.
Ross Ross.
You had an input on that?
Yeah, flip a coin.
Flip a coin?
Mhm.
I don't care what the method of chance is, short straws, long straws,
Cards.
pull cards.
Yeah.
We could have a competition.
Or
Rock, paper, scissors.
lot,
Run across the highway, whoever.
arm wrestling,
Okay.
whatever. But I'm not sure exactly how to write that into the charter. That would be in the transition plan in Article 10. Okay? So, again, this section is,
Fluid.
it is required that we look at that in context of what we're looking at in other parts of the charter. Okay? So, let's see. We'll have to come back to that.
Yeah.
So, moving on to Article 4. I really wish I had a big print of this.
You want to use mine?
That would help me.
Make that one.
Absolutely. Did you? Copy?
Sure.
Okay. Okay. One input I had on Article 4 was to strengthen the HR definition that's built into this. Okay. And under Article 402 Personnel System, it talks about merit principle. Okay. Which is all appointments and promotions of city officers, employees shall be made solely on the basis of merit and fitness demonstrated by valid and reliable examination or other evidence of competence. And I believe that the comment that I received was wanting to add a section C where the city council shall by ordinance establish 1, city employment expectations, 2, standards for training for both new employees and continuing education, and 3, performance reviews and expectations. Does anybody have any?
Can we ask the source of who made this recommendation?
You could. He's not here tonight.
Engineering. I feel like I tend to agree with that. In terms of having stated goals that are objective, not just subjective. Not that you're just a great employee and are great to get along with, although that could be an objective element, but actual objective.
Right.
I tend to agree with that comment, but I also.
Now, this is not proposing to put those details in the charter. It is simply adding a requirement that the council does establish those things, which I'm okay with.
I like that.
But also the city manager, that's part of the job.
It is certainly the city manager's job to oversee that. The city manager could well provide recommendations to the council on that content. but it would still be the city council's job to decide what those parameters are.
It's very, very much inside the realm of what the city council should do in giving direction and guidance to the city manager. Correct.
I believe that to an extent, but it runs my sense people to make the judgment for everything versus going back to what you said, you have a CEO.
But he still has to answer to the board, and the board can outline that.
Yes.
And that would be between the board and the CEO to determine what those would be. We're not putting it by ordinance. We're just saying, this is what we want the city council to do. How they get to it is between the city manager, the mayor, and the council.
Yes.
Okay, so how are we on this proposal?
Daryl said there are many more HR items to be addressed besides merit. That's what we're on, right?
Yes,
Okay.
and I think that the item C provides those, but I fall short of saying the charter should mandate details of how the HR department should work.
Yes,
That's
I agree with
okay. Any input from our legal overseer?
Overseer.
It's been promoted.
Kind of, yeah. Trying to make friends here. I don't see any big problem with it. If I was a city attorney and reading that, or I am, I guess. When you mean employment expectations, does that mean going through an org chart and looking at job descriptions for each particular
Yeah, the employment,
place? Or,
I
yeah,
read that as the employment expectations for each specified job description.
and that just needs to be settled and approved by ordinance, is what.
That's what it
If
says.
that's what we're doing. I'm very comfortable with that.
Okay. Good. Let's see. And 403, quantify city manager evaluations. I think the recommendation there was to specify in this, in section 403 under the city manager, the provision to add a sentence, selection criteria for this position shall be documented, and all candidates will be scored against this criteria to facilitate a fair and objective selection process. Comments, questions?
I think that's sort of telling somebody how to brush their teeth. It outlines exactly what they should do for, search companies do that anyway. I think it's just, I don't have a problem keeping it in there. It's just a line that I don't think we really need.
Okay.
But if we want to have it in there,
Okay. Does it create a difficulty to accomplish? Okay, so we're good with adding this?
I am.
All right. And at the end of this section, the proposal was to add a minimum. The performance of the city manager shall be assessed by the city council twice per year using a documented set of performance expectations that include financial and capital performance, personnel management, and employee morale, compliance with code of ethics, community engagement, council and employee feedback. Any comment or question?
This assumes that those performance standards are set at the beginning of the performance period. Is that the case?
That is correct. That would assume that.
Okay.
But it doesn't state that.
Do we have clarity in any of this on who is in control of the actual facility and property here? For instance, who gets to decide if a new sign is posted or a new policies in regards to this property are enacted?
Does that have anything to do with this?
I'm not sure this is the right paragraph to,
I'm not sure either. I'm asking you in another place.
I'm not sure that I
I guess
can
the
recall
power-
that. I don't think we have that level of detail currently documented in this charter, so. But
I'm just wondering if
do we
we're
want to
granting people powers and things of that nature, and I'm not sure it's enumerated anywhere who's in control of this facility's policies. Seems like they've been enacted willy-nilly recently.
Well, no, wait a minute. That was a several prong fork just pulled out there. Policies and procedures are the responsibility, I think, of the city manager.
But we don't list that. Is that just assumed?
That might be under the golden rules. Might.
Right. Well, okay, now I think we have to back up to the concept of employee expectations as may be documented in employee job descriptions at all levels. Okay. Somewhere in there, somebody would be designated as responsible for initiating. No, I don't even want to say that. You started this by wondering who's responsible for signage. That's one detail.
Right.
Signage can be, the need for different signage can be a weekly thing. If there's an event held here that we didn't know about a month ago, then different signage may need to be created to manage that event.
Right.
So
I'm talking about where randomly folks show up and things have been decided, like you can't go in here, you can't bring this in here. Things of that nature, specifically on this property.
I hear what you're saying. No, we have not dealt with that issue in this charter. We may bring that up at our next meeting, but we have, unless you have a specific proposal for where to put such language and what that language would be, I don't think we can adequately deal with that this evening.
We might not be able to, but I was just,
Point of order. We get back to the subject at hand. That is something that we can bring up, but we're not.
That's what I was getting at.
Out there. Can we go back to the thing I was commenting
On when, I think your comment had to do with when are the,
Well, we have a statement in there that relates to the evaluation of the city manager and the operations and all that stuff. Just don't want it to sound like it could be a surprise to that person if they don't already know what the objectives are. At the beginning of that period, whatever that is, okay?
so,
It's a bookended thing.
right,
But that would be up to the council to determine by
Well,
ordinance.
It might be, but the point is that you're gonna have a situation where you're gonna be evaluating people even if they don't do that.
Okay, so what I'm hearing, David, is you're maybe suggesting that where it says using a documented set of performance expectations that include. In between expectations and that include, if we inserted the words established at the beginning of the evaluation period,
Yeah.
then that would take any of the guesswork out of it.
Yeah.
I can do that. Expectations established at the beginning of the evaluation period. Now, is that sentence now sufficiently cumbersome
It is.
that we should maybe break it?
Yeah, put a comma right there, Gene.
How about if I put a period there and say the evaluation criteria shall include and make it 2 cents?
Yeah, okay.
Okay. The-
You need a period after the word period. Is it?
That's first for people that can't see period.
Actually, I thought I put a period after the word period, but there's how I have it. The evaluation
Shall include.
criteria shall include. I get that right?
Yeah.
Other than your
Take the
spelling.
key out of criteria and evaluation needs spell check.
And line, first part.
First line of that,
First
First
line.
word of
First
that
word.
First word in the line.
first word of the line evaluation.
Well, my
You have to
typing
say
skills
specific.
are not my strongest suit.
That'd be good. You'll see even worse.
Okay. Did that capture your thoughts,
Yes.
sir? Okay. Any other comments? Is everybody comfortable with this approach? I am not seeing any thumbs, but I'm looking for them. All the thumbs I see are up. Okay.
Can I suggest an and after the last comma in that last sentence?
And council,
Last comma.
Yeah.
You
and
think,
council,
That's right.
and council employee feedback. So this list.
Okay.
It really is.
I like English. Good.
Okay, next one.
All right.
Powers and duties.
Create Article 404F, create quarterly fiscal reviews. The text that we started with says,
I wanna just go back. I got a little bit ahead of myself, but I do think it's important that we give some jurisdiction to somebody specifically for the buck stops on the property.
Right.
And we have to do it in this charter. I'm not looking to give details of what that is, but this willy-nilly, I don't know where I got it from, it just happened thing. Specifically on this facility, I think it's a problem.
okay,
And I thought that it was appropriate to put it in 405. If people disagree with that, because I don't know who else it would be other than the city manager. But if somebody comes up here and starts saying you can't go here, you can't go there, and it changes on a daily basis, somebody has to take that blame and responsibility.
that's what I'm thinking.
Okay.
this one right here would be a good one to put. You got the shall appoint. And,
Yep.
and put it right in there and manage the day-to-day and be responsible for the day-to-day operation of all city facilities.
Yes. Like I said, I don't care who it is, I just don't like that it's whoever decides right now.
But if you put it in here, that goes whole list of things that we have, and
Yeah.
that's.
I just got one ahead of myself on the
No,
last
but
one.
that's okay. Look, we're in 404, so 404F, let's deal with that one.
Mhm.
It says, submit city council, make available and accessible to the public complete report on the finances and administrative activities as of the end of each fiscal year. The proposal is to strike as of the end of each fiscal year and replace it with each quarter. Now,
Question to the.
once a
former-
year to 4 times a year, is that overkill?
That, I have a specific question to that, because once a year would probably include the city audit, which is done every year. Going quarter, then we're having an unaudited report going to the citizens. Unless the city wants to pay for a quarterly audit, which would be extremely expensive.
I don't think this is equivalent to an audit.
Well, if you want, make a balance that says, complete report on the finances and administrative activities of the city, the finances is audited. And some activities of the city are audited as well.
That's
So
correct.
it just seems to me that if you do it at the end of the year, you have something that is done by the outside auditor. If it's something that you make quarterly, then that's something that is just coming from the director of finance that has no oversight. So that's the question I have.
Okay, and it's a good question.
But is it too long a period where you cannot see trends to make corrections?
Okay, what's the
That-
practical
that's a
aspect
good
of this?
point.
A review of the finances needs to be done in the budget process, as part of the budget process. That's usually done May, June, in that time frame, so that the budget is developed July and August. Okay? I'm agreeing that submitting a report from the city manager at the end of each fiscal year is somewhat irrelevant.
I mean, I would hope they're doing this monthly anyways, at least internally. This is a question of whether it's published.
It's just gonna coincide with board of ethics because financial reports are on the board of ethics are gonna be quarterly anyways. Or excuse me, month. So I mean,
Is that insured or does that rely on the council wording the ordinance that way?
that's wording it
And
correctly. And if you go by what we already have, I believe it already states in there that we can have besides everything, board of ethics is more than what everybody thinks. They really do need to look up what a board of ethics really is.
Well, we'll get there. Well, we'll revisit that later.
Now, coming back to this, will this work? If it's in the board of ethics or not in the board of ethics? It's gotta be, we gotta work together on this.
I hear what you're saying, Michael. The Board of Ethics may have an oversight function on this, but the responsibility for managing the budget is still the council.
Right.
And I think this paragraph is talking about how do you keep the council informed so they are properly doing their management role.
That's the exact same thing, board of ethics, nothing different.
Yeah, but again, the council has the responsibility. The Board of Ethics, their responsibility is limited to ensuring some level of oversight, and they only get involved if the council isn't doing their job properly.
And may need to inform the public. But if we put it in here, we don't have it in later, it's gonna cause us a problem.
Okay,
Don't put it in now, and we put it in later in a different area, it's gonna cause a problem.
no, we're gonna have something in here. Now, what we're talking about is what is the right frequency? Is quarterly the right frequency?
Finally, I mean, no matter how we do it, we need to keep this in mind later when we address Board of Ethics. It's gotta all work together.
That's true.
I don't have a problem with it, with the way it is now. I don't think it's overkill.
Okay,
I think they probably should be internally doing it monthly anyway.
all in favor of quarterly?
Probably do.
Quarterly or monthly.
Give it
We're
back.
making, we're making this to where public has access to it without having to file a FOI.
So we'll,
Okay. So now where, Mr. Stickland, where in the 14 elements under this paragraph?
holy crap, John, you're the one that did all this crap?
No,
Oh. I'm wrong, man.
no.
How about just do a second,
Oh,
section O?
Well, if we're gonna do that, then you need to make the only other duty or responsibility aside, that needs to become O,
Yeah,
Correct.
okay?
Yep.
So,
to make it in.
okay,
And I just think they need to manage City Hall and be responsible for the premises.
city manager is responsible for operations and what's the big
Policies.
word? Operations and
Management of all city facilities.
of all all city facilities.
Not just this.
Not just this one. That way, if he's responsible also for any screw up with the police department and things like that, that gives him some oversight on that. And then if something happens at the police department, city manager can't just blame the police chief.
That's right.
It's his cookie.
I agree.
I'm not sure what I'm usually pretty good with words, but help me out with, what to type in here,
How about go back and replace the provide management,
gladly.
okay, and say is responsible for management.
I don't know if we want to say management, do we?
For operations,
I would say responsible for physical premises and policy at all.
okay, the physical premises, that's pretty darn vague.
Well, I know by design, I think, I just don't want them to be able to come up with their own policies. And I don't know how you do that without saying property or premises.
Well, this you give them, this will give him the power to put up the signs and keep people from doing things.
Mm-hmm.
No, this will allow him to do it, because if we say he's responsible for maintenance and all that other stuff, that gives him the responsibility to do what they want to do. Now, you just care that it goes to one person.
I'm saying right now it's being done anyways. And no one is taking responsibility or can
So
be
we
blamed
give it
for
to the city manager. Okay, got
So
it.
I just want somebody to complain to, or the city council can correct. So if we want to put in some kind of language that says unless overridden by the city council. But I don't want them coming up here and posting signs willy-nilly and no one's responsible. If a sign or a new policy is implemented, someone has to be accountable.
Is that close?
Gene does it. Yeah, look at that. Who wants to read it?
I think that the control of usage of, I don't like that.
For control of usage at all facilities, take that out of all and make it at all. And We'll let Fritz go over it real quick.
Yeah, Bruce, can we do that?
Are we good with that? Well, first off, Mr. Stickland, does that meet what your goal is?
I mean, it depends on their interpretation, but I think it could. Maybe our judge can help us there. I don't want them to be able to close or limit or anything without somebody taking responsibility for it.
Oh, how about responsible for procedures of usage of all city physical facilities?
That would probably work a lot better, so I think there's state law in there that's telling us that we're not gonna be able to do this.
No.
Fritz,
Alright, so, we run into this a lot. We have those certain people come and try to do First Amendment audits of public facilities. This happens all the time. And, you come and you sit in the waiting area. We have to just nod at them and smile and say, good afternoon. But it always comes, what does that mean? We have to let them into the city manager's office and allow them to film? Of
I
course
think-
not. But the problem is there needs to be a written policy about who can go where, who can post signs. And I think it is, usually our advice is either the council makes the policy, and if not, the city manager needs to step in and have a written policy or either delegate it to particular, like if you have a separate police station, delegate it to the police chief. But a provision like this should give the city manager essentially oversight over all those. There should be written policies for every city facility about public access. And any city attorney worth their salt is gonna make that advice, but yeah, putting that in there is probably a good idea.
Good.
Your line of documenting procedures, are you okay with that, or?
Let's see, responsible.
I'm going to add one more thing to this.
I mean, what we're really concerned about is public access.
Well, not just that.
Yeah,
Just put it in.
If somebody decides to put up signs right before we walk into City Hall and no one knows who did it or who decided it, that's my big thing.
But
They can put them up. I'm not saying they can't. I'm
That's
saying
right.
somebody has to be responsible for it if we want to blow back on it.
Right, so how about responsible for documenting procedures of access and usage at all city physical facilities?
I think we need to say must maintain documenting procedures.
Yeah, I don't think we responsible for documenting that's.
But what if they don't?
Well, then they're not meeting their
I
responsibility.
think instead of procedures, we should say policies.
I like policies better.
Documenting policy.
We're not really talking about who can complain what and where. We're
Okay.
talking about somebody having the authority to make some rules in writing about who gets to go where and when.
Okay, I'm good with that. Okay? All thumbs are up?
Thank you.
very good point, Mr. Stickland.
Okay, good. I like it. So, oops, no, I'm in the wrong bin here. Yeah, I thought I did this pretty good to kind of keep straight. 409, a question on department head reporting. And I forget why that's there. Because I've got a lot of things in there. Oh. This one, I don't even know what to do with. I got an input that just simply said, police chief reporting question mark.
That's, I believe, that may be access indirect. Last meeting we had was who the police chief answered to. And it was discussion whether it be the mayor or the city council. And I think we said the mayor or the city manager, and I think we agreed it would be the city manager. Right?
yes,
So I think, is that what that suggestion's for?
Don't know. And the person who submitted it is not here, so.
Well, I think we already discussed that.
Okay, now, in this section, it talks about police/fire as examples. But we
Don't have part.
abrogated our responsibility for fire to ESD one a couple of years ago. And I don't think that will ever be regained by the city, so.
Strike the term fire.
Do we still have a fire marshal under the city?
We do.
We have two.
So we do need.
I know we have a fire marshal. I don't know if we have a deputy or not.
Yeah, I believe we do.
We have a
Yeah,
deputy.
we have somebody who works for it.
Okay, well, I'm okay with leaving that. But,
Okay.
does anybody else have any other input on Article 4? Okay. So I sent out a alternate for Article 6 the other day. Everybody get a chance to review and digest that. It has considerably more detail than the draft that we pulled from Liberty Hill.
Is this the one you got from Saxon?
That is correct. Um, I,
This is a general lower threshold. You're proposing a lower threshold for.
oh, yeah, we'll come back to that in detail. Yes, certainly. The part about, everybody have a copy of this?
Yes. Perfect.
Yes.
The Liberty Hill version says for petitions, you need 30% of the registered voters. 30% of the registered voters in Bull Park would currently be almost 1,300.
When was the last time 30% of registered voters even voted?
No, for any, not for any city election.
Never.
No.
We got close in 2001. We had, actually, in
Well,
2001, we probably exceeded 30%. We had 1,004 voters in one election, in a city election. Okay. And I remember that because I lost it by 12 votes.
Still holding on to that.
Well, that's okay. They didn't get rid of me anyway.
They're hanging.
Is that 30%?
They're voting machine. Yeah.
Currently, 30% would be 1,290. Okay.
Do I?
You're not going to get a petition
No.
signed in Mill Park.
No.
Period. Okay. Not in 60 days.
That will defeat the purpose of.
So I looked up what is the actual percentage of votes that we got in the last two city elections, which was 2025 and 2019. Note that there have been no city elections from 2020 through 2024. All of our current places 2, 3, 4, and 5 were all appointed. That's how they got there. Okay. So I think we had 17.5% of the registered voters who actually voted in this May of 2025. Okay. So my suggestion is that for the purpose of validating petitions, that shows up in Article 6.05, that we adopt language of the form, the lesser of either 30% of those who voted in the most recent general municipal election, or 10% of Wool Park residents who are current registered voters. And currently 10% would be 430. Which is about 60% of the number of voters we had in the May election.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and I think that these percentages that we decide on for petitions is very important.
Mhm.
As I said in the town hall, I do not want the limit to be so low that we thrash on every little thing that comes along. Nor do I want it to be so high that you might as well not put it in the chart. Okay?
Bill?
So, that's my thoughts. Your thoughts, please.
I like what you got.
I'd rather, I like this obviously better. I'd rather lean on the sign of lower than higher
Okay?
in general.
So,
Well, I put in here two different sets. One for referendums and initiatives. And that would be 30% of those who voted in the most recent general municipal election, or 10% of the ballpark voters who are registered voters. And for a recall, I looked at it and upped the ante a little bit to 40% of those who voted in the most recent municipal election. Which could, that would, in terms of the 2025 election, add about 70 people to the requirement to get their signatures.
Well, why don't you just want to keep it the same?
That's an option. I simply looked at it, I'm just telling you that I looked at it as maybe up the ante a little bit for a recall,
And
but now I need your opinions.
so just to clarify, you just said for petitions, you have it at 15%?
No, 30 and 10,
30.
for petitions.
and 40 and 15 for
605.
Okay.
And it's still a fairly tall order anyway. To get that many signatures.
I can give you a little bit of background. In 1996, there was a petition for a not recall, a rollback election for the property tax. City council, in its wisdom, decided in 1 year to raise it from 12.5 cents to 36 cents, which exceeded the 8% by a lot. And it took about 3 weeks to get 300 signatures.
People are motivated. Yeah, they will definitely get involved.
Okay. So I know that you can get several hundred signatures if you have a cause that people rally around. Okay.
In section B, a petition to the city council for recall. Does that?
Bless
Excuse me,
you.
thank you. Does that include the mayor?
That would be any elected official.
Then we need to put that in there, because right now it
It
just
does say
says,
city council.
it says city council, we do need to say including the mayor.
We can clarify that, but I think we've already defined that the mayor is a member, a voting member of the city council.
Right.
I think we should keep them the same, and I would say we do 30-10.
Any other thoughts?
30-10.
I like it.
30-10.
30.
I bend to your will.
And other parts of the charter does specifically say the mayor is part of the city council, which means we don't need to amend this at all.
I believe that's correct, and if I'm wrong, we will fix it.
Okay,
Okay, we are going through a consistency operation later on.
okay.
Okay, so I really don't want to stop and do every little detail.
No, that's why I just said,
Okay. So have you looked at the rest of, again, the procedures outlined in this alternate Article 6, I think are completely robust compared to the one in the
much better.
Inputs? finance.
I like how
questions.
they even, I think I read on your email that they outline ballot language. Did you see that?
Right.
Oh, this, I think it's pretty good.
I believe there's, let me see, I think I made another change in here somewhere too. To make sure, in section 613, limitations and restrictions. Under B, unless withdrawn, no petition shall again be filed on a proposed or referred ordinance or referred resolution of substantially the same content within a period of, it said 2 years. And I wanted to be a little more specific and said 24 months.
I like that.
The only thing I would say is if it's specifically a trying to change policies, particularly on taxing levels.
Right.
If one goes down and then the next year they come back and they try and raise it again, it could be substantial and you might miss, I mean, they could have 2 big raises in one of these periods.
But if they take action like that, that would be a different thing.
Well, I don't know the way, when it says substantially the same content. So if you were doing a rollback of the tax rate, even if there were 2 different tax rates, I don't know that that would be.
So I can check, but I do not believe that tax rates can be governed by the initiative or recall provisions of the city charter. In other words, that is all in the tax code.
Anything that affects, well, I gotta be careful. Any ordinance that initiates issues bonds, not subject to a referendum.
Okay, I know, I'm agreeing.
Oh,
But there's other financial things
right,
that I think you can't.
right. And I think somewhere else in here, I was proposing that if,
Another one I'm concerned about is economic development money.
you know, that's, yeah,
It's,
anything
Could be
that would,
directed more.
any ordinance that would affect the INS portion of the property tax should require public hearing notice. Period. I mean, we put public hearing notices out for the budget and the property tax rate. But if the council wants to issue certificates of obligation, large amounts, they have the right to do that. But they shouldn't do that without public hearing notice to the public.
if I'm not mistaken, the state law used to be, and I don't know if they changed it, but if city council passes COs for something and they just pass it, then I believe the voters have a right to come back and petition for an election.
6 months.
Right, so they can come back within 6 months and do that.
And I think that's a 5% of the registered voters level, but I have to look that up.
Well, that's not charter, that's state tax law.
Right.
I thought that there was a difference. General obligations, elected certificates of obligation are done by the council. Yeah.
You're absolutely right.
So you want them to only be able to recall once in each term. You're doing it every 24 months. As opposed to 12 months.
When I'm, wait a minute, the referendum and initiative things,
I'm not talking about that, I'm talking about B. Recall.
for recall, that's, there is a different set of requirements there. Where did we put that?
Would 613G not apply to 605B?
There are specific provisions that talk about recall. as far as when somebody could run again. Okay.
No, recall won't go into 16B, because 16A talks about petition recall.
Okay.
yes.
Way I'm reading it. That's
Well,
what you read
the
it.
only problem is,
Well, okay, let me point out one thing under 13A, the last sentence is, well, it establishes no recall petition shall be filed against any officer of the city within 6 months after such officer's election, or within 6 months of such petition being filed and found insufficient, or within 1 year after an election for such officer's recall,
okay,
if it was unsuccessful.
I guess my question is in being under no petition, because you're calling both of these a petition for initiative or referendum or for a recall.
That you use a petition, but you can use a petition for one of three things: initiative, referendum, recall.
So should we put the two that B applies to? Should we say that is for this, since you want A to apply to B?
Okay. The limitation on the referendum says you can't redo something that we just told you can't do.
Yeah, for 24.
The initiative doesn't have the same concept, because the initiative is now telling the council to do something that they didn't think of or didn't want to do.
Right.
And so
And
it's
you only want to do that every 24 months too.
I don't think there's a time limit on that.
Wait. Initiative is a proposed ordinance.
That's correct.
So the limits in subsection B is concerns initiative or referendum. So A is about recall petitions, B is about initiative or referendum petitions.
Yeah, that's what
Okay,
confused
yeah,
me.
you
Is
cannot
this,
redo an initiative that fails
Mm-hmm.
in less than 24 hours or 24 months. Either.
so in 605, A
Right.
is addressing a petition for initiative and referendum.
Right.
Is addressed in B on this one,
Okay.
right?
Yes,
Just this.
I think that's correct.
Okay, I'm just, when I read that, it was not clear to me that that's what it was only addressing. I thought you were trying to do the recall part too. But that's addressed up here. So all
Yeah.
I'm saying is, if you address a little bit more in B of, because there's lots of different kinds of petitions here. Which ones you want that to apply to? What I'm hearing you say is you want it just to apply to initiative or referendum.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
unless
got it.
withdrawn, no initiative referendum petition shall again be. I think that's what Mr. Stickland is referring to.
Yes.
Yes.
It's B seems to contradict A the way it's written because it's not specifically saying what kind of petition. No petition shall again be filed. So I thought it was superseding your petition to recall.
Well, so you want that to say no petition for referendum.
Unless withdrawn, no petition for initiative or referendum. That's what I want it to apply to. You see what I'm saying on this?
Yes.
Okay.
Because I don't want them to come back and say, no, B means you can't do a petition to recall either.
Gotcha.
That's why I asked, you only want them to be able to be recalled once in a term. Because if you apply 24 months to that, you're only going to get one shot.
Well, a term is not 3 years.
Correct.
I know, but if
But
you
if you
can't do
limit
it every 24, then you can only do it once in a 3-year term.
Yes.
Oh. No, I think that the 24 months limitation is adequate.
For a recall too?
No.
That's all I want clarity on. If
Okay.
you want the recall to be 6 months, then
I think we're good.
If we add that wording for initiative or referendum.
Yeah.
Yes.
13B.
Well, I'm good with that.
okay, cool.
And I didn't put it in, I didn't try to put it up there. You're right. I got put it in here.
Yes. Real quickly, I wanted to, on this piece of paper. These are my suggestions are for the Article 6, begin with the change of Roman numerals to numbers 1 and 2 respectively.
Yeah, but that goes away if we adopt the alternate version.
That goes away if you adopt the,
Well, I don't think that those Roman numerals you're talking about are in this version.
I see them.
Oh.
So 5. See, I and 2. They were called Roman numerals, but they're not. There's 1, 2, 1. Those being numbers.
Oh. That's what I matched. That's a typo error. Yeah, but
Okay.
that's to be fit.
Okay.
Got it.
And then are my other suggestions in this? I couldn't really.
I think so.
Okay. Add, so in 6.07C,
607.
Add. in the line where it says by registered mail, I would add and email.
Okay, that one,
C, C, and it's within the first sentence on the second line.
My bad thing is when everybody's email changes just like mine.
Yeah, but this is just, you're just talking about notification that it's been denied. Right?
Correct.
So like, if they deny you,
So
say
if I
you'll get it by
insufficient-
mail, and then you gotta wait 4 days to hear their
Right.
crap. You could get an email too.
Right.
Why don't you just put in both? Are you saying put in both?
Yes,
Yes.
add the
And
words
email.
and email.
Then
Yes,
it's,
sir.
then it's on you to have your right email.
Correct.
okay, do we need to put in email if available?
I don't,
Yeah. Because they may.
Sure. Yeah, just in case someone doesn't put their email as a contact, then. So it would just say and email if available or if. Okay. And then another suggestion was also in C. Change within 5, strike working and put business days.
Did we
Or
do that?
I don't see it.
Yeah, you got working/business or something.
I see working days. in C.
Yeah, that needs to.
Okay, I'm good with changing working to business.
Okay, in both areas.
Well,
Is there 2? Okay. And then 609. Okay, the first line. Add after does not resign within 10 days. Then the city council shall order an election and set the date for holding such a recall election. If the officer whose removal is sought does not resign within 10 days.
Why add that?
It gives, I mean, currently under type A general law, if a councilman resigns, wait. It's talking about an officer. But, I mean, currently in type A general law, if a city councilman resigns, it's either effective if accepted at the following council meeting or if 8 days pass from the resignation.
correct, but I'm not sure.
Okay.
But this isn't a councilman resigning.
Right.
This is a group of people saying, why don't you resign now?
Right.
Just
Well,
slightly
it just,
different.
it gives it within 10 days, it gives it a time frame to happen, for action to happen.
That's a little tight.
Yeah,
Okay. It was just a suggestion.
right. And the 25 days or more than 35 days, that gives the city council a window in which they have to act.
She wants to act quicker.
And I understand that. I mean,
That comes to the next change of within 25 days instead of between 25 and 35,
right.
which
I think 25 days may, in some situations, be too short.
Okay.
We don't wanna make this,
Well, if I go out and get 400 signatures, I want them out within 10 days too.
well, yeah, I get that.
yeah, but it's. There may be some, you know as well as I, there may be some machinations going on behind the scenes that may take more than 10 days for
Yeah.
it all to work out.
Right.
So 25 to 35 is a decent time frame there. And if they really want it to happen, they can call the election within 2 days if they want to.
Can they?
I don't know.
I don't know.
They can try it and see what the courts say, right?
So we talked you out of that, Glenn?
Okay, sure.
Okay, any other input on the alternate Article 6?
No, I like what you did, Gene. Thank you.
I will incorporate this into the total document. Okay,
I have a question.
yes,
Not
sir.
necessarily about 6, but related to this. What other instances are there where a council person would be reading?
Going to prison?
Going to prison, becoming a dying? I'm wondering, what are those and where are they stated in this? And who carries that out?
Well, some of that could come out of the Board of Ethics,
Board of Ethics to come
Okay.
out with that,
moral turpitude,
right?
uh,
Felony,
That's.
So-
right?
Upset Marcy?
yeah. No.
So I go for being easy to find.
Okay,
So we'll cover that in the
That
ethics.
should be. It should be in the provisions before.
I'm sorry.
What are we on, Brits?
Qualifications for office
Oh,
and removal and forfeiture.
yeah, any
We
failure
have
to meet
like-
the qualifications of office is,
Yeah.
Right. I mean, that's going into office, but.
no, if you're in office and something happens that you would no longer qualify to run, you are subject to removal.
So you're subject either by your council members suggesting you do that or by referendum.
A real easy example, you are required to live in the city. You buy a house out of the city and move there.
Yeah.
You can no longer be on the council.
The city council can push you out or someone can do a recall petition against you.
Does that help?
I think so.
Okay. So let's move on. We only have 3 more articles to go through tonight.
40 minutes to do it.
40 minutes. Okay, kids. Just do my stuff.
Man, stay on your line.
Okay, kids.
I'm gonna be a bigger person.
And if we go to Article 702, I think we will find that there is a place where we can city manager shall prepare and submit the annual budget. City manager shall submit and make available public. as of the end of each fiscal year. Well, I think previously we changed that to quarterly.
Mhm.
Is this an appropriate place to make the same change?
Yeah,
Okay,
We have to qualify and say it's unaudited.
no, no, there's nothing about that, because you're not gonna have either. The only time you do an audit is at the end of the year, and you have a full and complete audit from an outside auditing firm. That's quite expensive.
But we're not implying that these are audited reports.
No, we're not, because they're not.
And your status reports.
Your question, Gene?
okay, the question was raised as to whether or not if a budget amendment should be required budget adjustment notification process to the city council.
Yes, the council should approve all budget amendments.
Well, yeah.
Anytime something, that's just the regular budget amendment process.
Yeah, but he's talking about a notification instead of willy-nilly. Like,
Well,
they could present a budget that we have time to look at beforehand and then get there and make an amendment and change it on the spot.
No, they can't. They have to put it in the agenda. The amendment has to be in the agenda, and you've got 72 hours. Yeah, there's enough notification in there, Jonathan.
Okay,
But everything has to be notified. Everything has to be in the agenda on what each budget amendment is.
It's not 72 hours anymore, it's 3 business days.
3 business days, not including the day of the meeting or the day of the notice.
That's
Right. So more than 72 hours.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, but more.
But that is not in the, that's not in the budget, that's not in the pre-budget process. That's if they're doing it throughout the year of that fiscal year.
Right.
This is talking about the budget process.
Budget process is something that's fluid and can be changed if they go on a workshop. And you can't put a notification out on that.
Well, folks, I think what the question is, I don't even know who asked the question, but people might not show up because they've looked at the proposed budget and said this is good and don't know that they have intention of going in there and changing it by 10%.
If they make that unintended, then that means that some people spoke outside of open meeting and they're a violation of state law, and you can file charges against the county attorney. So, I mean, what you're bringing up is a violation of the law because they do something that they intended to do.
Well,
If they
one
don't-
person, they may not tell anyone. They may have their buddies already lined up beforehand. They don't know the actual amount, but he
That's still
intends to-
talking to somebody outside, in quorum outside of a meeting.
Okay.
I will just tell
Do
you,
we want to put in here a sentence that mandates something about notification of budget amendments? That's the question. Yes or
Well,
no?
that's budget amendments of what? Establishing the budget?
yeah,
It's a fluid document. I think your ordinance is hamstringing the budget process.
so I will tell you at the state level and the federal level, they require a notification on budget amendments. It's typically at least 24 hours for the public and different interests to be aware of it.
Well, again,
We
I
can't
think
do
what Charlie was saying is you can't amend the city budget without putting it on
An
a,
agenda,
It has to
an
be,
agenda item. And
But
so
that's
the
once it's-
notification is much more than 24 hours.
I understand, but that's different than what I think this is talking about, which is accepting the approved budget. What this specifically says is moving funds across, which they
But it-
can do as an amendment to the budget after it's been initially adopted.
If there's nothing that's been, and if it's initially adopted, that means it's been approved.
I know.
It's not done. Once it's approved, then any amendment has to go through the agenda process. The proposed budget, everything is proposed until they hold the hearing in September that ratifies the budget. Until then, you may have the city manager ask for the council to do a workshop and they rewrite the whole thing because something happened and they have to rewrite the budget.
And all I think this
And
is saying
put
is,
that out to the public, you are hamstringing people. You gotta give these people some latitude to do their jobs. And putting that in there is a little bit too much, in my opinion.
The budget and tax rate approval process is quite onerous. In fact, there's an entire chapter in the local government code that talks about how you go about adopting the initial budget every fiscal year. And you have to file the proposed budget with the city secretary. I forget the exact word. It's 30 days before that budget can be adopted. So, the proposed budget has to be filed by the budget officer, which is usually the city manager.
Right.
Way before.
Okay, and if it's not,
I'm out,
then we revert to the old one.
I'm out.
Yes.
706 talks about amendments after adoption. And it says council may only amend an adopted budget in accordance with state law. The problem I have with that is section 102.010 says state law doesn't have any recommendations on amending an adopted budget. Basically. So, if you really want to have something in here about a notification process other than, over and above the normal agenda published controls, this would be the right place to put it.
I'm for 'em. I like being notified when they're gonna change things. I like the transparency of it. I understand they're gonna have a working deal. What I don't want what I don't want to witness is nobody showed up because they were happy with what the working group put out, and then it gets changed on the spot before it's adopted.
You
Because-
can't do that. You can't make that
Okay.
change. If you have the published budget, it's the published
That's-
budget.
That's. I'm talking
So
about
what
when
you don't want to have happen is an agenda is published to amend the budget. And then the budget is amended on the fly in a meeting. In some way other than what was noticed for that agenda. So
correct.
that's what I'm hearing.
Yes, because
Okay.
of the way that state law requires them to then post it beforehand. If that was the whole problem that we ran into just this last couple of months. If we didn't have a city council to approve the new budget, then we all would have had a tax
Got
increase.
it. I now understand what you're saying, but I'm not gonna try and craft those words tonight because we are running out of time. But I'm going to put a note right here that this is where we would add a notification process.
Okay.
Okay,
And I'm for that.
well, so then we got there.
Would you like for me to make a motion that we run until that?
You can make a motion to that. I'm not sure how we're gonna be accepted.
Look, I have a midterm tomorrow. I don't wanna be here later either, but. Yes, absolutely.
Did you want to make a motion?
It's okay.
Apparently not. Okay. In that case, moving on, did we get that?
Yeah, we can come back to that.
Make sure, okay. And I think we're good. I think 705 is actually okay. I mean, the reference to state law is a little fuzzy for me, but I think it works. Okay.
Which one are you talking about?
Well, I made some notes about clarifying the budget adoption process in context of state law.
Okay.
And failing to meet a deadline, that one's important, yeah. 705C, city council shall adopt the budget on or before the deadline provided by state law. If it fails to adopt the budget by this date, the budget proposed by the city manager shall go into effect. If the city manager fails to propose a budget by this date, the current budget shall remain in effect until a new budget is adopted. I would propose that this should read, if it fails to adopt, the city council fails to adopt the budget by this date, the
current budget.
Current, what would be
The current, but yeah,
the previous
the
year's.
current budget shall remain in effect until a new budget is
Yeah.
adopted, deleting all that stuff about the city manager, because that just says the city manager could put something together that is just weird.
Mhm.
And the city council can say, well, we just don't have to do anything, and that'll get adopted.
All right, y'all bear with me here, but what if we change it and say budget as written and approved by the home rule committee?
Well,
Good.
that's an interesting thought, Mr. Stickland, but I don't. Doing that.
Move, okay?
And it's eight
No,
thirty.
that's a no.
Knows how long everybody talked about that.
Okay, everybody's good with this.
Yes.
Come on, you're getting silly. Thank you. Alright.
There, Jonathan.
Even that's not.
Right. No, one good thing. Public records. Copies of final drafts.
Are we at 12 or are we at?
I thought.
Over at Public Records.
Copies of.
We don't have any of that here.
We don't have that in the sheet. We have on our sheets here, we go 7-12.
I didn't see any questions.
Public
Public records.
What do you mean? You mean this sheet?
No,
Okay,
Oh, yeah, you're talking about wording.
Yeah.
Right.
I have an input here that talks about, should we add employee contracts to this?
we talked about that last time too.
Now I've lost where it goes. It doesn't go in 7-10. So, okay, we'll come back to that then. 7-12, sort of proposal to issue.
I think it would go in there.
In
It's
7-10.
7-10, yeah. It's basically employee contract should be available.
Oh,
Personnel.
And I will tell you, that's the way it is. It's with state and county and everybody else.
Is it personnel?
So
okay, so where do I want
it's a
to?
contract that requires payment of public funds. It is public as a matter of law, public information.
Okay,
But right now, we don't proactively stuff to see who's out for that.
right.
That's
And some people have interpreted that that's personal information. You can't.
Do we want to put employee contracts in this paragraph?
It's standard on every other government contract, so I would say yes,
Yes.
unless someone has an objection.
Non open hand on it.
Okay,
Thank you.
all good?
Jonathan, I think we ought to get finance schedule.
Yeah,
Well, to be fair, it was my original.
Every contract goes through, we get finance schedule.
Okay, 7-12. Proposal to issue non-revenue stream certificates of obligation require a public hearing. Mentioned this earlier. And what does that mean, non-revenue stream certificates of obligation? Means anything that would affect the INS portion of the property tax rate. Okay,
Yes, everything that has to do with interest in sinking should be subject to a public hearing. Should be subject to public hearing.
at least one.
I like to.
Okay, so. This. Any,
I appreciate it.
pardon,
That you're doing great. We appreciate you.
any proposal,
Y'all had like a minute ago.
A proposal to issue certificates of.
issue any debt instrument. This would include tax notes.
Mhm.
Uh,
How about any proposal to incur debt?
that's too broad.
Okay,
Any issue of a debt instrument that affects the interest and sinking fund portion of the city property tax shall require
Yes, Charlie.
a public hearing with a notice of at least 30 days.
Yes. 30 days.
Probably 30.
I would propose that we have that public hearing and then a second public hearing at the time of the vote.
At the time.
So there's a public hearing then, and then a second public hearing at the time of the vote. That has to come between, there has to be at least a 2-week window between the first public hearing and then the adoption. That way they can't ram something through.
Hey, Freds,
Yes,
what
sir.
are you agreeing with this, or were you shaking your head about when it was first being typed?
I'm not shaking my head. It's just, this is incredibly broad and there are many provisions of state law that provide onerous notice requirements. If you want to put this catch-all in there, I think that's fine. Subject to, we need to review and figure out, is this redundant? And also, if we're going to provide notice, we need to say what kind of notice. It just says notice of 30 days. And I think we need to say property tax rate. So.
Yep, that's correct.
Well, even if it's redundant, I don't have a problem with it,
That's fine.
and I don't have a problem if state law could change. And he's up, and if we
Right.
are doubling down on transparency, I'm fine with that.
We can, in the
Unless they
part
tell
of
us
this
we can't.
document, define what we mean by public hearing in all cases.
That is true.
That was the question.
We could define what we mean by public hearing in another part of the chart.
You could, but I do believe that language is.
Pretty well understood. Well, I'm good with this for now.
Can we add a second public hearing at the time of adoption?
Can you propose the exact text to that and send it to me for review at the next meeting?
Yes.
Thank you.
Are we talking, and also, are we talking published notice, just internet notice, city's website?
I think, okay, can you clarify what the word notice means in there also, Mr. Hodges? Thank you. I've made a comment that the charter should prevent any tax note issuances. I think the term of debt instrument covers that.
Yes.
The phrase in this section about shall become effective immediately. I don't know that that's I don't know that's appropriate for all debt instruments, some of which are controlled by other portions of the Texas tax code. No. That one might require some investigation. Did you just volunteer to do that, Glenn? Thank you.
Our lawyer can do that. You look into that?
Yes.
One input we had is about restricting when the city can issue a certificate of obligation. My experience on the city council, I don't think I want to go there at this level in the charter. I don't know that we could define it properly enough to not create problems. Most of the time when I voted for a CO, it was to do basically refinancing of bonds already issued to get a better interest rate, like buying down your mortgage. So, I don't know, any comment on that portion at this point?
Can you just put additional,
Additional what?
only if they're adding to it? If they're reducing in the case of a refinance.
No, let's say. Uh. Well, we're already requiring a public hearing for the issuance of CO, right? Okay. So. Putting restrictions on top of that, I'm not sure the value. The benefit.
Well, the benefit would be they do less.
Well, hopefully we will end up with a council of people who are reasonable about this and will be somewhat wary of citizen oversight.
Hasn't been true yet.
Okay, so in that case, I need somebody to volunteer to submit explicit text for that concept. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Lynn.
And let's see, what else do we have? Is that it for section 7?
Believe so.
Okay.
17 notes.
Well, you
Oh,
had one
wait a minute,
more.
yeah, 7:13.
Right. You had changed requirement laws to requirements and laws. Bless you.
Thank you.
Oh, that might. Oh, right here. Yeah. 713B. I'm going to feed that back to the city of Satch. See if okay. Does anybody have anything on charter amendments, Article 8? So I don't.
I thought.
Okay. Does anybody have anything? We've already done Article 9. Article 10, transitional provisions. I added some things under 1003 methods of electing council members. So I'll read. Upon a positive determination that this charter is in effect following the canvass of the vote from the May 2025 election. Note the assumption there.
That should be 2026.
Oh, right.
Yes.
I knew that. 2026. Correctly note the assumption there. The 5 council members and the mayor shall together appoint a Royal Park citizen to serve as Royal Park council member place 6. That is 7. Thereafter, At the May 2027 election held under this charter, council members for places 1, place 2, and the mayor shall be elected. At the May 2028 election under this charter, council members for place 3 and 4 shall be elected. At the May 2029 election under this charter, council members for place 5 and place 6 shall be elected. Unless otherwise required by state law, elections for each position shall be held on the May uniform election date and every third year thereafter. And this raises a point that we haven't talked about in a couple of meetings. But there was some discussion on partisan versus nonpartisan elections. If we designate the May election, it is typically a nonpartisan election. Under general law, under state law, local government code, a general law type A city, candidates for elected office shall not declare what party they're affiliated. We should, I think, and going partisan, there's two issues, I think. One, it would typically move us to adopting elections in November. And the city issues, I'm afraid, would get lost in the jungle of state and federal issues. That's one thing. Worse, we have an election every year. In order to vet candidates through a partisan process, the primaries are only held every 2 years in Texas. And I see that as a deficiency to have elected officials in Willow Park be vetted by the primary process and still be able to run in a partisan sense. Now, I do not think that we should adopt a state law portion that makes it basically illegal to state what party you're in your political advertisements. I think that should be allowed, not required. Okay?
Can I ask a question, Gene?
Sure.
You do not have to be a part of we could go nonpartisan in the local elections.
Right.
And still have the election in the November elections. And not have May.
We could, but again, I would be concerned that, but you've gone knocking on doors.
Yep.
You know how interested people are in everything that's going on around them.
Yep.
Or lack thereof.
Right.
And trying to get people interested in city issues. At the same time, you're trying to get people interested in county issues, state issues, federal issues. I see difficulty there. And I see a benefit, at least at the size city we are now, in maintaining the elections in the May timeframe. That's my personal opinion.
Would you be cheaper for the city to hold them in November? Significantly. You would get more participation.
I think that's a different issue. I think we would need to really look at that.
I'm just saying that, in my opinion, someone who is elected in the November election is a better representation of their community than the turnout that we see in the nonpartisan May election. Or Willow Park citizens will vote in November significantly more than in May.
Yeah, but the problem we have with our city elections is that no one challenges the incumbents anyway.
That's been,
And that has been the case for a long time. So either we have one person races in May, or we have one person races in November.
That are
And
cheaper.
I don't care. I've always said, people say, go vote, go vote, go vote. Well, if you don't know what the heck you're voting for, don't go vote. And in the November election, we have a bunch of people who are fixated on who's running for governor or who's running for senator or who's running for president. And the last thing they're going to think about is who's running for city council. And they may, if there is a contested race, they may make their decision on who they vote for city council on the cute little doggy sitting in the advertisement that they got in the mail.
I agree. What I do know is this though, every single person that I can name who has tried to make the jump from being elected in May by a couple of voters in Willow Park have been rejected by the masses of Willow Park in the November election because they don't represent it. And so in this case, and in most communities that I have seen, someone can get elected under a platform in
I
May.
understand. I don't think the last two mayors in Fort Worth would have been elected if they had November elections.
Sure.
I understand that.
Yeah.
Okay, it would have been totally different there. But there's this, the school district elections are in May, the city elections are in May. We've done that for a long time. We're not big enough to go to November. We just really aren't. And would it be better to have people who
But I don't understand.
are interested in our elections go vote than to have folks who
Well, it hasn't worked out well for me and you. Not happy with current folks. To have it in May.
Well, that's
So-
because no one's run against them. They've been appointed and they keep getting, no one opposes them.
Yeah.
So
There
that's,
is a massive push to codify the election and get rid of the May dates anyways.
well,
It may come
fine.
from the state level.
As soon as it happens on the state level, great, let it happen. But if people want to take a role in this city and they want to challenge, let's see people step up and run for office before we start moving our elections around to try to make it easier for people to get voted out. Because right now, no one's running to get them voted out with. So let's just keep it the way it is.
For putting aside whether we want people to get voted out or nobody can make the argument that it would be cheaper to have separate elections like we currently do. It's more expensive to do that, and we have less citizen input. And what I have found is unless you make people take a position, more people will get educated if they have to go look at a November election
No,
and
they
make a
won't.
decision.
No, they won't.
No, they won't.
No, they won't. I think all you're doing is playing numbers games.
More
I think
people
it's a
will vote.
fallacy that they will vote. Will they be informed of votes or not? Unlikely.
One would hope if they have, if they feel like I need to go
Well,
vote.
you can hope all you want, but I don't really think people are in the November elections are all that interested.
But do you think it would be good if more people's voices were heard?
If they're heard, but if they're not heard.
Point of order, we're having a discussion. Michael, we're having a discussion here. Heck with the cowboy. I don't care. That's disrespectful as hell.
So.
Let's carry on then.
Gentlemen,
We all,
Okay.
we'll go.
we are about to turn into
Yeah.
a proverbial pumpkin by the clock.
I think it's one of those, we don't really know what people are thinking. I don't know if people are presented with 27 options to vote for from the federal to the local level, that they're gonna be paying any more attention to the local ones. Unless they have a dog in the fight. I agree. We haven't had anybody jumping up to contest any of these positions. And so it's really kind of an academic exercise.
Well, I'll tell you one of the reasons why. Is because somebody who wants to make a change has to go appeal instead of a representation of, this is an overwhelmingly one party area.
Yep.
Okay, and we have a whole process to decide that. And then the city elections, the minority group, who are much more organized, get to come out and overrepresent themselves, and they've been electing their people in there.
Well, then I guess the people who
And I'm
are
just
the majority need to get organized.
I guess I don't see the landscape the same way you do. I see a bunch of people that have been appointed and nobody's been elected in a really long time,
Except for the mayor.
except for the mayor.
Well,
So
place one had a challenge.
most of. Right.
I'm telling you, my argument is that you would engage a lot more of those things and the party and the Republicans and the Democrats, you would force them to get involved. When right now it's discouraged in a May election.
I think it's.
Okay, so we are at the point where.
And no, totally. And I'm not arguing the partisan side. I'm arguing the November side. If y'all want to keep it nonpartisan,
I understand where you're coming from,
get more people and cost less money.
but it's still gonna wind up.
I think we're gonna have to table that part of the discussion because I have 8:55. And I understand your point.
Yeah.
And I understand their point. And I think we will have to revisit that and go from there. So, how many people have adopted action items?
Two, I think.
Just Charlie and Gwen so far.
Submit that.
And
Okay,
Fritz has one too.
Oh.
I will capture all the changes that we've talked about tonight and repackage the working version of the charter and send it back out to you as rapidly as I can, hopefully by Monday.
And we'll get that
Next
version on the website.
Yes. When I send it out to you, it should get posted the same day. Anybody has any comments? What I would like is to get explicit text changes to the working draft. And as I receive them, I will package them as best I can and send them out to everybody. So everybody can start forming an opinion about any changes that we come up with. But a good plan?
Other than submitting text to you on our changes, is there anything else that we can do to support you?
Again, when I send out comments to y'all, if you have strong opinions opposing or modifying, I need to hear those so that we can make our next meeting as efficient as possible. I appreciate it. I think we covered a lot of ground tonight.
We did.
Do appreciate it.
In here somewhere, there was a comment about openness and transparency, how to integrate it into our charter. The
Yeah.
city of Watauga. I'm getting a glance at their charter on the way that they use openness and transparency throughout the whole charter.
If you have any explicit input, let me know.
Yeah, that'd be hard to be.
I didn't say it was easy.
No, what I'm saying is that they have to be reviewed.
Okay, who signed up to join in on this exercise because they thought it was gonna be easy? Okay, do we have any other inputs quickly? Yeah, 2 minutes to,
No, I just want to say that I'm not arguing, and I know I've lost the argument on the Republican and Democrat partisan issue. I don't think that settles whether it should be in May or November.
oh, I get it.
That's all I'm talking about.
I get it. I understand.
And
Everyone,
I am happy to do it right, but I can send to everyone making that case. So
Please do, like to see what you have to say.
Okay.
So I think you need to send it to them.
I'm sorry.
Can you send it to all of us and not send it to you? So you have this.
ironically, I will say this too, it is the one issue that is in both party platforms at the state and federal level to move to unison. So the Democrats and the Republicans have both called for it.
Good.
Which is ironic.
Stay involved and make it happen.
Yeah, get them to agree on English as a standard language.
They're not gonna.
That was actually in a budget bill in 2012.
Oh, really?
Everyone tell everybody about the
The
next
budget bill didn't pass.
town hall.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next time.
Okay,
Next town hall.
Are we done?
you said move to adjourn.
Yeah.
Did I hear a second?
Second.
There you go. Thank you much.
Thank you. When is next time?